Everyone. Parshat Hashavua, Parshat you have double Parsha this week. Torah talks about the first one. If when a lady gives birth, right, there is a period of tum'ah for 7 days or 14 days. There's a minimum of tum'ah. She becomes like a when she is on her nida cycle. Torah calls her nidat devota titma, right? And for a girl it's 14 days, and then we have 33 yemei tahara. So nowadays we don't have the exact numbers like this. She becomes tameh regularly, and she becomes tahor regularly. We don't go with the leniency of the Torah anymore. We are more strict than what Torah said, but that's what Torah says. And then she was supposed to go to mikveh on the 7th or 14th day, depends on a boy or a girl, and after three days or 66 days, depends on, for a boy or a girl, she was supposed to bring a few korbanot. Torah says, "Ubimlod yemei tahora," when the days are up for a boy or a girl, she has to bring keves neshanato leolah. She has to bring an animal. A keves is a sheep, right? As an olah offering, or a dove, ben yonah or tor, two types of kosher birds, lechatat. If you can't bring an animal, it's too expensive. She can bring two birds, one for olah, one for chatat. You need to bring olah offering and chatat. Olah means you put everything on fire for Hashem. That's the normal korban olah, and then another is korban chatat. You have to bring a korban chatat offering. So Gemara asks, why does she need? Understand she needs to bring a korban, the offering to Hashem. You had a child, but why chatat? Chatat is a sin offering. What wrong have you done? What wrong have you done that she has to bring korban chatat? You bring korban chatat, if you broke Shabbat, if you ate on Yom Kippur, something terrible you did. You have to bring korban chatat. You ate, fat, non-kosher fat, or you ate chametz chas v'shalom on Pesach. That's korban chatat. Why is it? Torah says you have to bring korban chatat. So Gemara says, in the name of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, says because when a lady is about to give birth, she has so much pain. She swears that this was the last time. I don't want to get pregnant anymore. Right? I will resist my husband. That's it. She's going through so much pain. She makes a shuvua. She makes a swear. So Hashem said, now that it's over, obviously, you will have more children. Bring a korban. Bring a sacrifice to atone for your wrongly made mistake. The shavua, the swearing. What did you swear? So now the Ramban says on this Gemara, says that first of all, since when you make a shavua, you have to bring a korban, right? Because you swear something. You have to bring a korban. You have to keep your swear. If you make an oath, this is it. You have to do it. You can't make a korban, or you have to go ask for hatarat zendarim. You have to make a hatara. You have to nullify your swear. But since when do you have to bring a korban for it? So he says that really, when she made that shavua,
she was in pain.
She was a lot of pain. So when you make a swear in the middle of shavua, it doesn't count, right? Because the number two. That's shuvah, a good shuvah, because you're married. How can you make a one-way, decision? I don't want to be my husband anymore. When you got married, you signed, you confirmed that you're going to be your husband. You can't pull out right? Say, I don't want to be part of this marriage. How can you make that shavua? And number two, we don't hear her say it out loud. In their mind. In my process, the last time I did it, right? So shavua is only when you verbalize. When you bring it out of your mouth, you have to do it. But when it's your heart in your mind, doesn't count as a shavua. Doesn't count as a swear.
And if she says it loud, then what?
Then will be a shavua, right?
And then what?
But
She still bring
no, but still, you can't make a shavua against what you already committed.
okay.
You committed to marriage. You can't say, I don't want to be with my husband anymore. You made the shavua. I mean, you're nullifying the marriage. You can't make one way. I can't swear something which is going to affect about you, right? When in a marriage, it's two sides of a coin. You can't make it on your own anymore. You have to make sure the other party is also happy with it. But marriage is a relationship. If you pull out, if you stop, then marriage is gone. So so three things. First of all, she has a lot of payment. She makes that swear. Number two, how can you make a swear when you already committed to a marriage? You're under your husband. You can't make a shavua, swear against your husband. And number three, she only did her mind. She never verbalized it. So if so, why did Hashem still require you bring a korban chatat? So the Ramban, because Hashem has so much compassion, doesn't want people to say, false things, sheker, or even think about sheker and not do it. That's not being a tzaddik. Hashem wants his creatures to be tzaddik. Tzaddik means honest. You have to have a certain honesty. You say something, you do it. You promise something, you have intention to do something, you can't pull out. You can't say, I won't do it. But now, this lady had a very bizarre expectation. Not get pregnant anymore, not be with her husband anymore. She said, first of all, I understand you have a lot of pain. Number two, got a husband. Number three, he didn't say it, but still, it went through your mind. I want you to clean it. Bring a korban. Right? So Hashem is emphasizing this Parsha on honesty. Right? Go to Ramban, he said, you have to be an honest person. A Jew has to be an honest person. You can't lie. You can't say something and fool other people around and say, I do it, but you won't do it. I won't do it, but you'll do it. I'll sell it, but you don't sell it. You have to be an honest person. When you say something and when you report something, you got to be honest. Honest reporting, honest studying, right? That's the idea that that the person should be honest. So for this lady to stay as a very honest Jew, Hashem said, you bring a korban, right? You said something in your mind, you couldn't do it, obviously you couldn't do it, but a korban is good enough to clean you up. Okay, so that's the first part of the Parsha. The second part of Parsha talks about Sarat, which is one of the longest mitzvot in the Torah. Usually a mitzvah is never explained in the Torah. Obviously, there's more explanation in Mishnayot. As Yitzchak, he reads Mishnayot a lot. There's a lot of, and Metzora, it's a lot out there, because there are different levels. One is on the house, one is on the beged, right, on your clothing, and one is on the skin. And the skin depends where it is. Is it on your head? Is it on your hand skin? Is it on your body part? Where is the skin, right? And how would you verify this is a sara'at? How do you take care of it? How do you become clean from it? We have two parshas talk about it in this parsha, and we have double parsha, but very, very rare. We don't find the Torah. The other mitzvah that is explained very well is also building the Mishkan. Right? That's the two mitzvot that are explained pretty much in details in the Torah. The rest, one mitzvah, just commandment, and the rest is you learn the Torah Shabbat Al Peh, the oral Torah. But Hashem explained in the Torah this time very well. So, just a few points on the Sara'at. I saw from my friend, he said that the the Sara'at would have to be announced by a Kohen. هو أهرون الكهن ولا أحد من بنات الكهنين. Only a Kohen could announce. Hashem left it by Kohanim. So now, let's say if the Kohen has no knowledge, never learned. So a Rav would come and tell the Kohen, this is Sara'at. Say it. The Kohen would say Sara'at, the person would become Tameh. It's not Sara'at anymore. Say it. Right? So technically, you don't have to be the most learned Kohen. As long as Rav Moshe finds his phone number ready, you could call and say, yes, it is. And he will tell you what to do. Right? So, Gemara calls it Kohen Shote. The Kohen is a Shote. Doesn't even understand. Still good enough. As long as the Kohen. Right? But there's one requirement. They bring down from the Rishonim bring down. So it says V'raha Kohen. Kohen has to see it. Kohen cannot be a blind. Has to be a regular person. Could be a shorter, that's fine. But a blind cannot be. So a friend asks, what's the difference? If you need somebody else to tell you what it is, even if you cannot see, let the Rav come, verify it, and tell the Kohen, it's Sara'at. The Kohen would say, blind Kohen would announce it's Sara'at, it will become Sara'at.
Why does the Kohen have to do it? Just because the Torah says it?
There's explanation for it. Yeah, the Torah says about there's explanation. I'll get that. Remind me if I don't say it. So now the question on the table is why a blind Kohen cannot, but a shorter, a Kohen that doesn't even understand things well is allowed to, right? So my friend brings down from the Tolner Rebbe. He says that what's the cause of Sara'at?
Many things, but one of them is Lashon Hara.
One of the big ones is Lashon Hara. Chavetz Chaim has a big piece on this, right? The whole book of Chavetz Chaim is because of based on Sara'at. So why do people say Lashon Hara?
Why do people say Lashon Hara?
Yeah, what's the cause of many of Lashon Haras come from what? People talk without knowing the facts. They don't know what's going on. They just like to gossip and talk about people. Whether someone's successful or not unsuccessful, people just talk. So in Eicha, there's a place. In Eicha, everything is according to Aleph Bet. Every pasuk begins on Aleph Bet, right? But over there, I think it says that there's one chapter that, Aleph Bet Nun Vav Zayin, Nun Samech Ain Pei. So over there, Pei is before Ain. There's a switch in the order. So I think the Midrash says, why is there a Pei before Ain? Because the problem of generation was their mouth came before their eyes. Right? In the Aleph Bet, first comes Ain. Ain is 70. Then Pei is 80, right? So Ain is an alphabetic letter, but it also in Hebrew means your eyes, right? Pei is 80, next letter, but also it means the mouth. So you're supposed to first see something and then talk about it. Don't make assumptions. Don't say things and then.
What's mouth in Hebrew?
Pei.
Pei is mouth.
Right. Hashem Sefarai Tiftach, Ufi,
P.
Pei, my mouth, right? So, unfortunately, people believe Lashon Hara, or they gossip it, they say it, without knowing the fact, without seeing the fact. That's the big cause of Lashon Hara. Someone says something, boom! He already announcing it. How do you know? He said it. Wait. Just because someone said it, you for sure accepted it, and now you're going to tell it over? Unfortunately, I see it all the time. And it's something I have to work on it very, very hard. Don't accept what people say. Just because someone says so, he could be biased, he's against other person, he hates other person, he lost something, or he wants to gain something. People say things. You don't believe just because someone said it. What happened to your ayn? What happened to your eyes? Right? So ayn has to come before peh. Maybe that's why a blind Kohen cannot say it. Why? Because you're saying, you see, you could say things without saying it. Even the Rabbi is telling the Kohen, but he can't see it. That's the whole problem of gossiping. People talk too much without knowing the facts. The Rabbi explains to him, that's fine. Kohen Shote is fine, but if a Kohen is an Iver, it's a blind person, is not allowed to do it. So, very, very important. The person should
You're allowed to say things.
without knowing, without seeing. I mean,
You're just not allowed to talk about anybody.
technically you're allowed to say good things, but problem is, says the Chavetz Chaim, once you say something good about someone will say a bad comment about it because people get jealous, right? If I say, hey, you're such a good, wonderful person, someone's going to bump. No, you don't know. I know him better than you. You haven't seen. It happens all the time, right? If speaking to a lady, never say a good thing about another lady because you for sure there will be a negative comment because ladies are very jealous of each other. They can't hear good things about her, all right? Tell it to your wife, never do it because Shalom Bayit promise, right? But even to other ladies, when you say something good about another lady, it's the jealousy kicks in. So the person should be very careful. So now you ask why a Kohen only? I believe I saw somewhere that says that gossiping it's unfortunately separate people from each other. Brings a lot of disharmony. The people unfortunately they stop the relationships. I said many times. I know a wonderful boy, a wonderful girl. They were dating, they were engaged. And someone said a shahara about the girl, and he canceled it. Right, and it was very devastating. The families, everyone, very very upset. But that's what Lashon Hara does. Words matter, right? We say words. I just said something. I didn't do anything. Those few words did the harm. So Kohen's, Kohen's mission says the pasuk in Malachi, "Ki sifte Kohen yishmeru da'at," right? Because the mouth and the lips of a Kohen, they keep the da'at, the knowledge, and the Torah yivakesh bepihu ki malach Hashem tzevakotu. It says a Kohen represents shalom, right? And less talking, or the word of knowledge should come out of Kohen's mouth. So when someone says Lashon Hara and he got in trouble, he has sarat, he has to look at the Kohen and say, that was my mistake. You learn from a Kohen not to say Lashon Hara. You hear him? That's the answer to your question. Okay. So Torah says that when a Metzora become a final Metzora, it's 100% Metzora, he has to tear his clothes. He has to let his hair grow, and he has to cover his face till his lips. So Rishonim say he has to look like an oval.
And
Right.
he has to go elsewhere.
Right, he has to go out of the
time.
the camp. That's right. So Rishonim say, Ibn Ezra says that he looks like an oval. Someone who is mourning the first week, what does he do? He has to tear his clothes. He has to let his hair grow. Right now, they don't have the custom, but the custom was that they used to cover their head too, their face, their clothes go all over. So why he has to look like an oval, right? Why is Metzora, someone has sarat, has to look like an oval? So my Rav said that, sometimes a person is still alive. We call him a dead person. Got different examples. Someone who lost his money, right? All his money, Eliphaz, it says that wanted to kill Yaakov, and he said, I cannot kill you because you're my Rebbe. My father commanded me to kill you. What should I do? He said, give up your money. You're like, I give up my money, then I'm going to be considered like a dead person. You did your mission. Why? Because a person doesn't have any money. Someone who lost his money, he's going to lose all of his influence to people. Nobody's going to care about him. He's like a dead person. He's alone. So someone said when I was rich, people used to come to me, ask for money and advice, right? But I lost my money. No one comes to me. I lost my money, but then I lose my advice. I can still advise, but now I understand people only came to me for money, not for advice. But advice came with it too.
Or if somebody loses their money, people aren't sure if their advice is so good. They're like, maybe I shouldn't trust the advice.
Never. Sometimes things happen. I know.
Yeah, it's a people thing. They're like, no, this guy's
It's true.
So if someone's blind,
I guess
also
he loses his confidence too when he loses money.
someone who is blind, Gemara says, also, because he can see things, he can enjoy. The other cases, so Gemara says Metzora also is like a dead person. Why? You have only two categories in the Torah that they have the highest, the fullest amount of tuma, impurity. One is a dead person, and one is a Metzora. Meaning any other Tameh, we have a lot of Tameh. This is Parsha, Metzora is full of Tameh cases. Zav, Nida, dead animal, you name it. There's so many other Tamehs. But a Tameh is only Tameh you touch. You become Tameh when you touch or if he or she sits on places, and touches the food, the korban. But if they walk to a room, the room doesn't become Tameh. Except two items. One is a dead person, as all we know. A dead person in a house, everything is Tameh, right? Nowadays, really doesn't matter what is that.
So if it's a tame, what do we do to make it?
Nowadays, if there's an open food, they throw it out. But the vessels, like say the chairs, tables.
Let's say a sick person was sick in his room, and he died in that room. So
they just don't eat the food there. That's it. But the rest is the same. Nowadays, even bed, mattress, these things don't apply. The whole laws of tuma now is only apply between husband and wife. That's it. Nobody else. Some people, unfortunately, read the Torah. Say, it says she's something I can't tell. They put her in a quarantine for. I remember when I was a kid. I went to someone's house, and there was a mother and I think 2 sisters and 2 brothers. They would go crazy because they would follow whatever they read, the translation. It says that she's somewhere. They would cover the mattress. Why? We can't tell you. I was a little kid. We can't tell you. And then I learned that's why they did it. Unfortunately, it was so wrong. They didn't know what they're doing. So now this law only apply to husband and wife to a certain degree. That's why people learn halachot of marriage before they get married to know what's right, what's wrong. I mean, Nida is a very important and serious mitzvah. It's not a joke. But to who it applies, it's a different story.
Right.
If you read the Torah, it looks like it applies to everybody, which it did in time of the Mikdash. But nowadays, we don't have the Tumah Ta'ara of holy foods. Anyways, but back to our discussion, a Kohen, a Metzora also is like a dead person, meaning a dead person is in a room, everything in the room is Tameh. A Metzora goes in a room, also the whole thing is Tameh. So why Metzora is like a dead person? So the living guy, So a Metzora, like Rab said, is Tameh because his heart is dead. When you say Lashon Hara about other people, and you ruin people's lives, you have no hargash, you have no feelings. You don't care what happens to them, just utter words, unfortunately. And that's what Hashem is telling him. You act like an Abel because you have to mourn over yourself. When there is a dead person, other people mourn over him. But when you have a dead heart, you gotta do it for yourself. You have to look like an ovel to show how terrible it is to to you know to bring lashon hara on other people.
So that's at times be contagious.
I don't think so. It doesn't say it's contagious. I don't know. I don't think it's contagious. And just one last thing. One last thing. I know you want to finish by 9.
Ghosts.
Huh?
Ghosts.
No, that's the urn. So it says that Metzora was supposed to bring a bird, right? And I think there's a tree, a little small tree called hyssop. Am I right? Hyssop,
Hazel?
right? He used to bring that and put it in, bring a bird, 2 birds. One you kill it and you put the blood in a bowl with water, and you would dip the hyssop branch and the living bird in the blood and sprinkle over the Metzora. So Rashi says, why you have to bring this bird? You don't see that type of bird being as a korban and sprinkle it on somebody. So says Rashi, because it's already teaching you a tzipor, a bird, they tweet too much, right? And people with lashon they are talking too much talking. When people talk, you run out of subjects to talk about. What do you talk about? Talk other people lashon hara.
Yeah.
You have to fill up your time with something. Oh, I'm doing good. The food was good, and then what's next? How's your sister doing? How's your brother doing? How's my doctor, my neighbor, my wife, my this, my that. Everyone becomes a bad person, right?
The rabbi this, the rabbi that.
Yeah, for sure. I don't want to say. A tzipor is mesafsef, mefatfet, right? Mefatfetim. They tweet a lot, right? If you look at Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, most of it is
The whole lashon hara.
it's all about lashon hara.
The whole fake news, the whole.
Yeah, everything is lashon hara. Why? Because they run out of ideas what to talk about. What are you going to do on Facebook comments? You have to say lashon hara, something, someone. You have to say, you have to let out your feelings. So that's why Hashem said to bring that tzipor. The best cure for sure is being quiet. Be quiet, right? Shetika. Shetika means
Quiet.
being quiet. It's a very, very big thing to work on. Okay, there's some ideas from this week's Parsha. Shabbat Shalom.
Right, Baruch. Right, Baruch.
Chazak ve'ematz.